Welcome back to my channel. It's YaSheema Marshall with Beyond the Blur, where I talk about everything that has to do with vision loss, adapting, adjusting, mostly to our emotional adjustment to vision loss, but everything vision loss. If you're new to my channel, I'm YaSheema Marshall. I'm a social worker for over 30 years. I lost my vision gradually over the past uh, about 5 or 6 years. And it changed my life. Vision loss. So on this channel, I talk about those changes. And one thing that I know is that people don't talk about is the emotional and psychological effects of your vision loss journey. So I talk about it here on Beyond the Blur. So welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about the positives about having a visual impairment, blindness, being blind, losing your vision, however you identify, whatever you want to call it. But, we always talk about the negative, right? But today I'm going to be talking about the positive things, things that came out of me becoming visually impaired, at least from my perspective. Obviously, everyone's experience, perception, opinion, it's not going to be the same. And that's okay. But on my channel, I share mine. So, stay tuned and listen to what we got to do. Talk about the positives sometimes of vision loss. I know it's kind of like weird, but let's talk about it. Yeah. Right. Okay. So today I'm going to be talking about some of the positive things or the advantages of being visually impaired and losing my vision. I know it's something that we don't talk about. We always talk about the negative, right? We always talk about how we lose our independence. We don't like to ask for help. How we're angry and we go through grief, and all those things are legit and valid. But today I'm going to be talking about some of the things that I noticed, at least from my experience of becoming visually impaired, some things that are positive that have come out of this experience and my journey, my vision loss journey. So let's start with this. So my vision loss journey started with me having diabetic retinopathy. If you don't know, if I haven't shared my story before, I won't go into my entire story, but I was diagnosed with diabetic retinopathy some years ago, maybe in, I want to say 2017, 2018. But at that time, it wasn't anything serious. It was just a doctor saying, hey, I'm noticing a little bit of retinopathy in your eyes. At this point, there's nothing to do about it. You're not having any vision issues, and I don't see any serious development of scar tissue or anything in your eyes and any damage to your blood vessels at this time. So we're good. Let's keep an eye on it. So that was 2017, 2018. So it wasn't until years later that I noticed some changes in my vision. And lo and behold, the retinopathy had started to show its ugly head. So it was a journey for me. And so when I, from the time it was diagnosis to the time it actually started impacting me, hey, I kind of forgot about that. Didn't think about it. My eyesight had been the same until it wasn't in 2020. And it went from there. And so that vision loss, I was in shock. I was in denial for quite some time because, frankly, I had a lot of stuff to do in life. And I didn't want to hear anybody saying that I was losing my vision because to me, that meant that if I was losing my vision at that time, that mean I was going to lose a lot of my life. And I didn't want to be blind. And so that's how my journey began. And so of course, like most of you, when um when you get this diagnosis, you go through your own part, your own emotional adjustment, your own mental thing you have to go through, the physical adjustments, the emotional and mental adjustments, the social adjustments, the environmental adjustments. We go through all of that, and like for me, some things that I notice, immediately is that my other senses started to be used more. Not that I became like Daredevil, right? If you don't know who Daredevil is, he's a superhero in DC, the red outfit on, but he's blind. You know, Matt Murdock. He's a lawyer and he's completely blind, lost his vision or whatever when he was a kid, and he has these superpowers. And so my husband and I laugh at it because I notice that sometimes that when I first started losing my vision a lot, I had sensitive ears always, but it was like the sensitivity in my ears and the sound became almost worse, and sometimes to a point where it's irritating. And what do I mean by that? Like the smallest sound can irritate me now. Like the the rustling of a blanket or comforter against my face or on me. Now I notice it. I can hear the sound. My husband and I were shopping at Old Navy and and we were shopping and we were somewhere near the dressing room, but not right near it. And I heard these this conversation and everything going on in the dressing room. And I mentioned it to him. I said something, and he was like, "Hey, are you serious?" And I was like, "What?" He was like, "You literally heard someone's conversation in the dressing room." And I was like, "Yeah." And so I have these experiences all the time. And we were in another store shopping. And it's usually when we're out somewhere shopping. Not always. When I'm at home, I don't think about it because I know I'm at home and the sounds are familiar, even though they're more pronounced and I hear them. Or I'm the first person that says, "What's that?" And everyone's like, "What? What do you mean? Don't you hear that?" You know? And so what I was at the store and it was irritating me so much that it was way back, and it was a lift. You know, the machine that they walk around, they ride around in there lifting in the warehouse, they're picking up things and all that kind of stuff. Where that sound, I was in the beginning, the front of the store. I was in BJ's, right? BJ's is a big store like Sam's Club. If you're, I don't know where you're from. I'm in Florida. We have Sam's Clubs here, but we have a lot of BJ's too. So it's a big warehouse like that, but it's huge. And so I'm hearing this sound, not in the store, but back in the warehouse part where they're working. And I notice it, and I'm just like, and I'm like cringing because it's like really irritating me. The noise, just the sound of it going beep, beep, beep. And my husband was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You don't hear that beeping noise? It's like this beeping. It's going beep, beep." And he was like, "Oh my God, not the Matt Murdock thing." And it's just a running joke between he and I, you know, but I noticed that with me. I can hear multiple conversations going on in a restaurant. And I'm not trying to necessarily, but it's something that I tap into. I do, you know, because sometimes when you use your vision, when you're say you're at an event somewhere, and or you're at a family gathering, a baby shower or whatever, in Christmas party, and people are having different conversations throughout the room, you know, and I'm sure for some people it's just a thing they do, but for me, I can hear I'm listening to those conversations, all of them, you know, and it's like weird for me sometimes. And I really have to like tone it out and just stop, especially when someone starts talking to me directly. You know, I have to tone out all the other conversations intentionally and really listen and focus to that person on that person in their conversation. Otherwise, they'll think I'm not paying attention to them because I'll be listening to six other conversations going on in the room and knowing exactly what they're talking about. It's, you know, so that's my thing. It's kind of like a superpower for me. A little bit. And so just with my perception. And you know what else I learned? I mean, just, you know, um when, you know, I started to lose my vision and I started to have to adapt and adjust, you know, a lot of things in my home and just in my life, I noticed that my ability, I don't know what I want to call it. Like it's like my brain was rewiring. Like when I first started losing a lot of my vision, I felt like I was dumb. I know it sounds crazy, but I felt like I was losing information and that that I was forgetting things, I was losing information, I couldn't learn or remember things, and so it was really driving me nuts, and it was upsetting me. And that's because because if you don't know, we get so much of our knowledge and information from our eyes, from what we see, and from what we learn. We don't necessarily walk around every day touching things. No one walks around touching things. Oh, is this a door? Is this the mantle? Is this my light? Is this my desk? We don't do that because we have our eyes to guide and direct us along the way. So we're not in the habit of using our brain, other senses, and our other brain power because we don't have to. And so I noticed that, when I noticed it, I was like, okay, I have to, this must be a thing. And so I did research, and it was true, that we get so much of our knowledge and information from our vision. And when you lose your vision and you're losing your vision, now you cannot learn the world and get the knowledge from your eyesight because you don't have it. It's blurry, it's muddy, it's gone completely or whatever. You don't have that. So you have to tap into something else, some other things in you in order for you to memorize things, remember things, to navigate things, throughout your environment, and so my brain began to rewire itself. It did, just the way that I think, the way that I had to think, the way that I have to remember things, the way that I have to think about things, how I go about life. My brain began to rewire itself. It's just a natural rewiring, I think, all of us go through, but we just don't think about it. But it's a good thing because I have a little bit of vision, but just think about all the knowledge and information that you gain throughout your lifetime. With If you've had vision, if you lost your vision late in life, like I did, now you have vision, so you have all this knowledge base. Now think about how you're learning, and your brain is gathering information and knowledge and skills without your vision, because it's how you have to do now. Another thing I noticed is the subtle, you know, unexpected like shifts in my perception of things. You know, when when you can't depend on your eyes, for a lot, because when let me just tell you, I'm low vision and everything. So when you having low vision and still having some vision sometimes can be deceptive. Why do I say that? Because if you've had your vision all your life, then you've always used to going through life with vision, with 100% of your vision. And so that's how you're used to navigating the world, to move into thinking, with as a sighted person with vision. So when you begin to lose that, in the back of your mind, you still want to use your vision. But when you have low vision, that means it's dark, things are dim. You need light. If you can't see everything around you, but I have light around so I can see the notes that I have in front of me, so I can see what I'm doing, so I can see my phone, so I can see stuff. I always have to have light around me. And so it's so funny, so your perception changes, you know, um, where things are, the distance between people, where I'm going, how I'm going to go. The way I think is different. My perception of people are different. How they interact with me, how I interact with them, communication. And my intuition, um, with people, I've always had good intuition because, I've always been in the helping, industry. I'm a social worker and done counseling and therapy for many years, coaching for many years with people. So my intuition and tapping into people, and the ability to understand and have that empathetic part of me has always been there. But when I was doing therapy, when I was in the midst of losing my eyesight, and I was still doing face-to-face therapy, um, because you know, my eyesight was kind of blurry and I was losing it, I really had to learn to listen differently. And my ability to tap into what that person is saying and what they were saying to me, what they were trying to say to me, was it was stronger. And I find myself now tapping into that more because I have to. Because simply, honestly, simply put, is that sometimes when someone is in front of me talking to me, I can't really see them very well unless I'm in a very lit place and they're right close to my face. And always is not like that. But if you're somewhere, you're just sitting in someone's house, or you're sitting and you're listening to someone, if I'm doing a Zoom call right now with you, I can see you, but I can't see you. It's complicated. Shout out to the Blind Life, and so that's the thing with it. And so being able to have that intuition, the more of an intuition and the empathetic part of me, especially in listening, is something deep, and just understanding, a deeper understanding with people who are going through things. There's, becoming visually impaired and walking through this world as a disabled person or impaired person with an impairment of some sort, um, it's different. You know, when you're not like this, even though you empathize and you have sympathy for people who are going through things, and because I've worked in this field, so I know what it looks like. It's different when you're on the other side of the tracks, and what that looks like. And so my ability to understand what people are going through when they are fighting for their independence, when they're fighting for their right to just live their life their way, when they're fighting to be seen, to be heard, you know, that means something so different to me now. And I can see that in other people and understand it, and I get it. And so being a listening ear for that, or understanding to the point where I can, where you don't get frustrated or irritated when someone doesn't want your help. You can be more patient because you understand what that looks like. You understand what it feels like for people to think that you always need help, or you should need help, or you shouldn't be doing these things yourself. Hmm. I'm sure we've all heard that. And so, these are the kind of things that I've noticed, but really in a deep way, just realizing that my vision loss was not a death sentence. When I first started going through this, and when the doctors told me that I was really going to lose my eyesight, and when I lost my eyesight, my right eye, all I could think about is that I was going to go blind in the left eye too. And I was going to be completely blind. And my mindset then and my mindset now is different. You know, I am going to live my life. My vision loss did not stop my life from moving forward. Okay. And so it's interesting, that I still want to, desire to, and am intentional about living a fulfilling life as a visually impaired person. I'm not going to change my desire and my love for traveling. I'm not going to change my love for watching movies. I'm not going to change my love for, hanging out with my husband, going on date nights with him. I'm not going to change, who I am, you know, internally, who I am, you know, in my heart, because of what I'm going through. And I encourage you not to do it either. Yes, we are going through a journey that many of us are going through, but not many will ever go through. And so they don't understand, they don't get it. But I want you to know and to tap into not just the things that we've lost, not just the things that are challenging for us, but think about our ability, our strengths in going through this vision loss journey, our ability to problem solve differently, our ability to have that intuition, that perception, that empathetic, heart and listening to people, whatever superpower that you may think you have as a result of this, because we all have one, this, because when something changes in you, things change around you. You don't have a choice. So don't fight it. And I want to encourage you. I hope that, some things I said today gave you some nuggets and most importantly, encouraging you and empowering you to not just see yourself as an impaired person or someone who cannot live a fulfilled life and do the things in life that you want to live, because you can do it. If you want it, if you can visualize it, not with your vision, but with your mind, with your heart, and with your thoughts. If you can visualize it, you can have it. You can do it. Just a little plug. Look what I just did. I finished a book. I wrote a book, and it's not my first book. I know how to write, but losing my vision and then still being an author was something that I said I wasn't going to be able to do anymore. I wasn't going to be able to write. I wasn't going to do all these things anymore. That's all I could think about. And try and stop me. Try and stop me. It ain't going to happen. I'm living this life I was given, all of it, in spite of my vision loss. I'm going to live this life, and I encourage you to do the same. And so if you like this video, and if you want to keep hearing things like this, please like and share, and follow my page on YouTube. I'm trying to grow to 1,000 subscribers. I guess that's a mark. I got to get to 100 first, right? But anyway, share my page and subscribe to it and like.